At the New Year's party, a slender hand reached out to Emily Thompson. Reflexively, she extended her hand to shake it. When their eyes met, her heart skipped a beat and she froze.
Michael Johnson! Wasn't he abroad?
Just as she was at a loss, her mind flooded with memories of the past, a figure stepped in front of her, blocking Michael Johnson's view.
Oh my, look who it is. Isn't the California sunshine tempting enough? How could you bear to come back?
Seeing Sarah Brown coming to her rescue, Emily took the opportunity to release her hand, and her pounding heart finally settled.
Thanks for stepping in earlier.
Emily excused herself to the restroom. The cold water and isolated environment helped her calm down significantly. When she came out, she felt much more composed, though her head was still buzzing until the party ended. On the way back, Sarah Brown glanced at Emily driving and struck up a conversation.
I didn't expect Michael Johnson to come back and start a business.
Yeah, it was quite a surprise.
Not to be blunt, but after all these years, why do you still react so strongly to him?
Before Emily could respond, Sarah continued.
But then again, it's no secret that you liked him. Everyone knows. It's just surprising that after all these years, you've silently told everyone, including him, that you still like him.
Was it that obvious?
Sarah raised an eyebrow at Emily, looking at her like she was a fool.
But you heard David Smith ask if he's married, and he said soon.
Yeah, I was just surprised to see him today.
True, his return was quite sudden. No one mentioned it.
Actually, his return wasn't entirely without warning. Over a month ago, Emily was scrolling through her phone and came across a video of a local business event. Just as she was about to swipe away, she saw a familiar figure in the crowd.
My heart raced, and my fingers trembled as I paused the video. He was frozen in the frame.
Even though it was blurry and he was wearing a mask, Emily recognized him immediately, Michael Johnson. She stared at the screen for a while before taking a screenshot of his image. It was the first time in 6.5 years that she had seen him. As for news about him, Emily had heard bits and pieces. He had returned to the country before but never attended their gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry. Though he was in their WeChat and QQ groups, he never posted, liked, commented, or sent or received red envelopes. He never sent Emily a private message.
Was this a brief visit, or?
She didn't think further. After 13 years of unrequited love, she had learned to let go. A week later, on the afternoon of the Lantern Festival, I received a call from an unfamiliar number.
Michael Johnson? He asked to meet for dinner.
I couldn't refuse, or maybe I didn't want to. Afraid of appearing unnatural, I didn't dress up much. I imagined various reasons why he might want to see me.
When I sat across from him, catching a whiff of his cologne, I realized I couldn't avoid his gaze.
He wore a black crewneck sweater with a diamond pattern, and his clear eyes were fixed on me.
I quickly lowered my head, feeling hot even after taking off my coat.
Luckily, the waiter brought the dishes he pre-ordered. I buried myself in the food.
Food is truly wonderful. Amidst casual conversation, I gradually relaxed.
By the time we finished the last course, I felt a sense of happiness. Interacting with Michael like old friends was enough. When he returned from the restroom, he sat down again, looking serious.
Emily Thompson, what do you think of me?
I looked at him, confused.
I broke up with Jessica Wilson at the beginning of 2019. She got married last year.
He stared at my confused face, then continued hesitantly.
After that, I had a few casual relationships. Since returning last year, I've been single.
He took out a document and handed it to me. It was his recent health checkup report.
Why are you telling me this?
My throat felt blocked, unable to utter a word.
I want to get married soon. My parents are pressuring me, and my field favors married individuals. My conditions should meet your criteria for a spouse, right? Would you be willing to marry me?
He said it formally, with a hint of emotion. It was also bewildering.
I know this is sudden. You don't have to answer right away, but please don't take too long.
If you're willing to consider it, I have two conditions. First, my current focus is on my company, so I won't have much time for family. We can consider having children in 3 years. Second, for both family and business reasons, my legal advisor suggests a prenuptial agreement. Emily's heart raced as she saw the familiar figure in the video. It was Michael Johnson, after 6.5 years.
Whispering, Michael, is that really you?
She took a screenshot of the blurry image, her mind swirling with memories and questions. 1 month ago, Michael insisted on walking me back and said he wanted to check out the current conditions of the university dormitories. We walked in silence. I had no idea what he was thinking. I, on the other hand, was worried about how to break the news of this sudden marriage to my parents and anxious about whether our lack of chemistry would raise their suspicions and concerns. When we got to my dorm, I was too preoccupied to entertain him properly. He busied himself flipping through my textbooks, and I answered his questions one by one.
These books, do you like studying this subject?
I nodded, unsure of what else to say.
It's good to have something you're passionate about.
Finally, as he was about to leave, I hesitated and said,
The way we are now, when we meet the parents, will it?
Gathering my courage, I clenched my fists and said,
I mean, before we meet the parents, could we spend some time getting to know each other better?
After a few seconds of silence, he replied.
Sorry, I might not have the time.
I couldn't see his expression because my chin was practically glued to my chest, and my face must have been a myriad of colors.
But
Suddenly, a warm hand lifted my chin, and the masculine scent overwhelmed me. When his lips touched mine, I froze. The blood in my body rushed to my chest, making my heart pound violently. I was powerless to resist or respond, like a wooden doll. I don't know how long it lasted, but when he finally stopped, he whispered gently in my ear.
Once we get the certificate, move in with me. I'll arrange for someone to help you move.
After he left, it took me a long time to transition from standing stiffly to lying down. Under the covers, I replayed the details of what had just happened, feeling a mix of embarrassment, annoyance, and confusion.
how could he kiss someone he didn't even like?
Was it all just because of the marriage? I recalled how, when he kissed me, one hand held my chin while the other rested on my shoulder, not pulling me into an embrace. Our bodies were close but still had a gap. The sweetness that had just begun to rise in my heart was gradually replaced by a chill.
Yes, in my relationship with him, I needed to stay rational and calm.
The next day, I told Sarah Brown that I had decided to go home with Michael Johnson to meet the parents. She was silent for a long time before simply asking me to bring something back for her.
Just bring me something nice from your trip.
Over a month ago, while I was scrolling through my phone, I stumbled upon a video of a local business event. Just as I was about to swipe away, I saw a familiar figure in the crowd. My heart raced, and my fingers trembled as I paused the video. There he was, frozen in the frame.
Is that Michael Johnson?
Even though it was blurry and he was wearing a mask, I recognized him immediately. It was the first time in 6.5 years that I had seen him.
Michael, after all these years.
I stared at the screen for a while before taking a screenshot of his image. As for news about him, I had heard bits and pieces. He had returned to the country before but never attended our gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry.
He's in our WeChat and QQ groups, but he never posts, likes, comments, or sends or receives red envelopes. He never sends me a private message.
Was this a brief visit, or?
13 years of unrequited love, and I've learned to let go.
Autumn was Emily's favorite season in the city, and she loved going on outings with Sarah Brown every year.
Emily, let's go camping this weekend. And bring Michael along.
I don't think Michael can make it. He's been at the company for almost half a month without coming home.
Emily returned home, carrying 2 pots of flowers, and stared at her balcony filled with plants. It was her sanctuary.
Emily, you haven't cooked yet, have you? I bought some crabs.
Emily turned around, surprised to see Michael.
Michael! Why are you back? Are you done with work? Sarah invited us to go camping this weekend.
I have to fly to Beijing tomorrow morning, then to Shanghai. If everything goes well, I'll be back in about half a month.
Do you have to go in person?
Everyone agreed that I should go. When I get back, we'll find a place to go.
Okay.
Michael prepared a sumptuous dinner, as if to make up for something. After the meal, Emily had no complaints. After dinner, Michael packed his luggage. By the time Emily was ready to wash up, he was already in bed.
Are you asleep?
No.
What time do you need to be at the airport tomorrow? I don't have any classes, so I can drive you.
No need, I've already booked a car. I'm going to sleep now. Good night.
Good night.
Emily tiptoed through her nighttime routine and slipped into bed. Their schedules were usually reversed. Emily often didn't know when Michael went to bed, and sometimes he slept in the guest room to avoid disturbing her. Tonight was quiet, with the only sound being Michael's steady breathing. Emily traced his features in her mind. Just having his presence was enough. The next morning, I reached out to the other side of the bed, which had already lost its warmth. After breakfast, I sat on the balcony, not wanting to do anything.
What am I doing? Could I still gracefully exit after waking from this dream?
Tears unknowingly fell to the floor. Last night, I had that recurring dream again, where he walked towards me with a smile.
Why do I keep dreaming about him?
In the second year of middle school, one day after school, I saw a strange-looking woman standing in the unlit hallway as I reached the first floor. I was scared and turned back downstairs, coincidentally running into Michael Johnson.
Michael, there's a strange woman upstairs. Can you walk me to my door?
Sure, let's go.
He accompanied me upstairs, but the strange woman was gone. He gave me a thoughtful look and ran downstairs. I chased after him.
I didn't lie to you, Michael. I didn't lie to you.
Until I saw him enter his building. In middle school, Michael Johnson and I were in neighboring classes and rarely interacted. I was very naive back then, not understanding much about feelings. When I heard about who liked whom, I would just giggle.
Oh, Sarah, did you hear who likes who?
Yes, it's so funny.
It wasn't until we both got into the same high school and were in the same class that I started to develop feelings for him.
We ride our bikes home together every day. I love listening to him talk and watching his serious expression when he's focused.
Gradually, I started to have different feelings for him and tried to find ways to leave for school with him in the mornings. Sarah Brown was the first to notice this change.
Emily, do you like Michael?
No, of course not.
I lied to her for the first time. After that, I had a dream where Michael Johnson, dressed in white, turned around and walked towards me with a smile. He was saying something, but I couldn't hear it clearly.
What is he saying?
Over the next decade or so, I had this dream repeatedly. His appearance never changed, and I never heard what he was saying. Christmas was approaching. After returning from a business trip, Michael Johnson had been self-isolating in the guest room for a few days. In the evening, he invited me to watch a movie at home. His colleague had recommended a film, and it turned out neither of us had seen it.
Emily, do you want to watch a movie tonight?
Sure, why not?
With the lights off, the only illumination came from the screen projected on the wall and the reflections on our faces. It was the first time we watched a movie alone together, and I felt awkward and nervous.
Relax, it's just a movie.
He leaned back on the sofa while I sat upright, not daring to glance sideways. The colorful images flashed before my eyes, but I couldn't focus. Eventually, I moved from the sofa to the carpet, gradually relaxing.
Why does this feel so surreal?
It was a British romantic comedy, but I didn't laugh. From the moment the beautiful bride appeared on the screen, memories began to unfold in my mind. Sweet, sour, bitter, spicy, every emotion I had experienced because of him was now so close, yet it felt like there was an unbreakable wall between us.
Who is he thinking about?
The dim environment couldn't hide my distress, and I retreated to the bathroom. Michael Johnson heard the commotion and came to knock on the door, asking if I was okay.
Emily, is everything all right?
I don't know.
Unable to open the door, Michael found a key and came into the bathroom. He knelt beside me, curled up and crying, gently patting my back and asking softly,
What's wrong? Can you tell me?
I want to go home. I don't know what I'm doing here.
I'm sorry, Emily.
Michael got up to fetch a warm towel to wipe my face. Struggling, I was carried to the bed. He lay down beside me, wrapping his arms around me from behind.
I'm sorry, Emily. I was too selfish, only thinking of myself and hurting you. Give me some time to make it up to you, okay?
I don't know if I can trust you again.
He buried his head in the nape of my neck, murmuring apologies. His breath tickled my skin through my clothes, and he was so close, so very close. I turned and held his head, pressing my lips to his, pouring all my love and resentment into the kiss. Tears flowed again, soaking us both.
Please, don't hurt me again.
Give me some time to love you, okay?
He answered with a deep, tender kiss. That night, for the first time, we truly had each other.
Maybe there's hope after all.
In the morning, I woke up to his face, almost touching mine. I could finally look at him freely. His thick eyebrows, relaxed closed eyes, high nose, and defined lips. I noticed a few strands of gray hair and couldn't resist touching them.
Have you seen enough?
Just making sure it's really you.
Fortunately, we didn't have to go to work. Over a month ago, I was scrolling through my phone and came across a video of a local business event. Just as I was about to swipe away, I saw a familiar figure in the crowd. My heart raced, and my fingers trembled as I paused the video. He was frozen in the frame. Even though it was blurry and he was wearing a mask, I recognized him immediately, Michael Johnson. I stared at the screen for a while before taking a screenshot of his image. It was the first time in 6.5 years that I had seen him. As for news about him, I had heard bits and pieces. He had returned to the country before but never attended our gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry. Though he was in our WeChat and QQ groups, he never posted, liked, commented, or sent or received red envelopes. He never sent me a private message. Was this a brief visit, or? I didn't think further. After 13 years of unrequited love, I had learned to let go. As a newcomer, I was facing my busiest semester since joining. Our cross-disciplinary project was entering a critical phase, and we had to apply for 2 high-quality online open courses. Just when I was swamped with work, Jessica Wilson returned to the country.
Hey, it's been a while. Let's catch up.
We chatted like old friends at a cafe outside the campus. In reality, I wasn't very familiar with her. I had only met her a few times during college reunions when she was Michael Johnson's girlfriend.
I brought Michael his favorite wine from California. Wishing you both happiness.
Thank you, Jessica. Why didn't you give it to him yourself?
Oh, I needed your permission first.
I forced myself to deal with her. As I watched her get into a taxi, I wondered how many men could resist her allure.
Why is she back in this city? What does she want with me?
I knew Michael Johnson had liked her a lot and was very good to her. Their sweetness was enviable, especially in my eyes. I didn't know if Jessica had met with Michael. He hadn't mentioned it to me, but I was sure he knew she was back. I keenly noticed Michael spending more time in his study at home. One night, I was woken up by his frequent tossing and turning. He got up and stayed in the study until dawn.
The study is too small to share. I'll take care of it myself.
The study door was usually closed but not locked. Even when I was home alone, I wouldn't go in. Even the cleaning lady, Mary Johnson, would automatically skip it. The second weekend after Jessica and I met, Michael brought home the wine she had brought from California. He casually mentioned her return as if talking about an ordinary friend.
I know. She came to see me.
We both tacitly avoided discussing something.
A woman's intuition told me that Michael's heart was troubled. Isn't it obvious she's back to stir things up? What's Michael's attitude? I don't know. So what are you going to do? How can I help you? I don't know. You two need to have a good talk.
It wasn't entirely unexpected when he returned. Over a month ago, I stumbled upon a video from a local business event while scrolling through my phone. A familiar figure caught my eye just as I was about to swipe away. My heart raced, and my fingers trembled as I paused the video. There he was, frozen in the frame. Even though the image was blurry and he was wearing a mask, I recognized him immediately, Michael Johnson. I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity before taking a screenshot of his image. It was the first time in 6.5 years that I had seen him. I had heard bits and pieces about him. He had returned to the country before but never attended our gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry. Though he was in our WeChat and QQ groups, he never posted, liked, commented, or sent or received red envelopes. He never sent me a private message. Was this a brief visit, or? I didn't dwell on it. After 13 years of unrequited love, I had learned to let go. During this business trip, Michael Johnson contacted me more frequently than ever before. And I missed him more than ever.
I miss him wearing an apron, bustling around the kitchen. I miss the sound of him calling my name as he walked through the door. I miss the way he would pet my hair like a kitten. I miss his animated and engaging way of sharing his experiences with me.
I longed to smell his unique scent mixed with cologne, to see his handsome features when he closed his eyes, to hear his soft whispers in my ear. I missed him so much it drove me crazy.
I found myself returning to the early days when I had just moved here, falling asleep each night with memories of him.
One night, I recalled the farewell dinner Michael Johnson had with his hometown friends before he went abroad. During the dinner, the most common blessings were phrases like talented couple and flying together. Everyone had a great time that night, and there was a lot of drinking.
How about a cross-cup toast? We might not be able to attend your wedding.
Michael Johnson didn't refuse. With Jessica Wilson in his arms, he said.
Sure.
Jessica Wilson blushed and acted coyly in his embrace.
I watched as Michael Johnson looked at Jessica Wilson with adoring eyes, kissed her forehead in front of everyone, and drank the cross-cup toast with her. They held each other sweetly, like conjoined twins. Surprisingly, I didn't feel as hurt as I had imagined. When you see the person you like genuinely happy and in love with someone who loves them back, you tend to forget about yourself and feel truly happy for them.
Yes. If Michael Johnson still loved Jessica Wilson, and Jessica Wilson still loved Michael Johnson, then whatever longing I had, they had for each other. Whatever love I had, they had for each other. My love for Michael Johnson had grown beyond the simple affection of the past. I didn't want to see him troubled or regretful.
I wish for his true happiness. If I can't provide that, then I will step back.
His return wasn't entirely without warning.
Over a month ago, I was scrolling through my phone and came across a video of a local business event. Just as I was about to swipe away, I saw a familiar figure in the crowd.
Her heart raced, and her fingers trembled as she paused the video. He was frozen in the frame. Even though it was blurry and he was wearing a mask, she recognized him immediately, Michael Johnson.
Michael. After all these years.
She stared at the screen for a while before taking a screenshot of his image. It was the first time in 6.5 years that she had seen him. As for news about him, she had heard bits and pieces. He had returned to the country before but never attended their gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry.
Though he was in our WeChat and QQ groups, he never posted, liked, commented, or sent or received red envelopes. He never sent me a private message.
Was this a brief visit, or?
I didn't think further. After 13 years of unrequited love, I had learned to let go.
Emily was scrolling through her phone, casually watching a video from a local business event. Just as she was about to swipe away, a familiar figure caught her eye.
No way. Is that Michael Johnson?
Her heart raced, and her fingers trembled as she paused the video. Though the image was blurry and he wore a mask, she recognized him immediately.
It's been 6.5 years. Michael.
She stared at the screen, taking a screenshot of his image. Despite hearing bits and pieces about his return, he had never attended their gatherings. He was in their WeChat and QQ groups but remained silent. Emily had learned to let go after 13 years of unrequited love. Over a month ago, I was scrolling through my phone and came across a video of a local business event. Just as I was about to swipe away, I saw a familiar figure in the crowd.
My heart raced and my fingers trembled as I paused the video. He was frozen in the frame. Even though it was blurry and he was wearing a mask, I recognized him immediately, Michael Johnson.
I stared at the screen for a while before taking a screenshot of his image. It was the first time in 6.5 years that I had seen him.
As for news about him, I had heard bits and pieces. He had returned to the country before but never attended our gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry. Though he was in our WeChat and QQ groups, he never posted, liked, commented, or sent or received red envelopes. He never sent me a private message.
Was this a brief visit, or? I didn't think further. After 13 years of unrequited love, I had learned to let go.
Over a month ago, while scrolling through my phone, I stumbled upon a video of a local business event. Just as I was about to swipe away, I saw a familiar figure in the crowd. My heart raced, and my fingers trembled as I paused the video. He was frozen in the frame.
Excited, Michael Johnson.
Even though it was blurry and he was wearing a mask, I recognized him immediately. I stared at the screen for a while before taking a screenshot of his image. It was the first time in 6.5 years that I had seen him.
whispering to herself, Michael, you've returned.
As for news about him, I had heard bits and pieces. He had returned to the country before but never attended our gatherings, always seeming to be in a hurry.
Thinking, though he was in our WeChat and QQ groups, he never posted, liked, commented, or sent or received red envelopes. He never sent me a private message. Was this a brief visit, or?
I didn't think further. After 13 years of unrequited love, I had learned to let go.